Now, this sense of presence, the earliest moment when you felt this presence, years ago, and now, everything else may have changed, appearances may have changed, concepts may have changed, but this sense of presence, has it ever changed? He says, in all these years.
It has not changed.
That's it.
What is the experience of, how is the experience of inner bliss related to that presence? Is that just, because I have experienced at times very intense inner bliss.
मधून मधून त्याला अतिशय आनंदाचा अनुभव आलेला आहे. अतिशय आनंदाचा अनुभव आलेला आहे. All these are experiences because of this sadhana you might have done, pranayama or whatever you might have done, but they are all appearances in the same consciousness. They are merely appearances in this consciousness, which you are. All of those are experiences, are all appearances in this consciousness, perceived and cognized by the consciousness.
No, it says, but he says it is even a state beyond that.
महाराजांचं म्हणणं असं की हे अनुभव येतात त्याच्या अलीकडे मी आहे. Yes, he says prior. You know, you've heard the word adhyatma.
Atma.
That is adhyatma. That is prior to everything else, prior to this consciousness. That is what you are. Any sense of right or wrong, fair, unfair, the ideas will come and go, they'll keep on changing. But this background, the you that you are, Adhyatma, prior to this consciousness, is the truth. That changeless truth.
कोणाला आवडणार कोणचा मला कळलं मला आकार आलं मला माहिती ना.
He said nobody would like my words. They would not be palatable to people. This form and name is imposed on me by force.
He refers to the fact it's imposed on him by his parents, right? Rather than by anything that he himself has done.
Name and form, that primary concept, that beingness I am. It has no name and form.
I asked a question a few minutes ago that I don't understand. You said something like, with what identity does one wish to be annihilated?
First,
I believe...
like to annihilate oneself.
I don't understand, but...
He says you have to annihilate yourself by your own identity. He says, investigate about your own self, about your own identity, which is very honest to you. You try to be very smart. You understand. You realize what I am saying. But like a very good spy, you don't want to admit. You just say, oh, I don't understand. Don't go on staring at me like the prints on the photographs.
I'm still thinking about the he mentioned the false teacher, the false jnani who at the time of death just says, I am Parabrahma. But would it not be at least of some value to him himself if he uttered that, at least he thought about it?
The one who has said, utter those words, I am Parabrahma. The word of the unreal is also unreal. The seed of that word, that itself is unreal, is it not?
Right.
That is his consciousness. If that consciousness was not there of yours, your world would not be there. It seems you are compelled to say yes and yes and yes. Like this. Don't dabble in the matters of others at all. Investigate about your own self. Find out what is your most honest identity. Again and again inquire about your identity, which is truthful and honest. We must have worldly experiences and spiritual experiences. What is the true nature of that? Should we not investigate about that? Who wants to have spiritual and worldly experiences? What about that who? The Maharaj says that leave aside the experiences. Inquire about that experiencer. Is it truthful or honest enough? Don't understand. Whatever is gone. So it is gone. Whatever is not, it is not. Innately it is not. Whatever is and whatever is not, thus both are disposed of. Then what remains is the truth. With the departure of beingness and no beingness, whatever stays put is the truth.
So, can there rightly ever be used the expression permanent identity?
पण हजेरीला असणार का? हजेरीचा अनुभव असणार का?
But would you experience your presence, your beingness? There is no beingness also.
No.
तर मग काय वापरतो?
Then how can you use? Who is going to use that word?
That's why
At
I
that
asked.
stage,
Yeah.
at that
If you
stage.
eliminate beingness and I amness and everything, then you cannot really use the word permanent
ते
identity.
जाणीव म्हणजे आहेपणा नाहीपणा सगळे गेल्यावर मग वापरायला कोण आहे तिकडे?
आपण
Still he says the self is there. We are talking from
Yes.
this stage. See. There is nobody to say that.
So the word is what we call a solecism, and it's an impossibility to say permanent identity.
Knows that there is nothing, then he says it is infinite and plenty and eternal. Having known that, then only he uses these words.
Therefore, a being such as Krishna, for example, the only permanent identity he has is simply the memory and the concepts and the imagination of the people of the earth that hold to, they all say there is such a being as Krishna, and they keep saying that and saying it and saying it. And so to them, there exists an identity known as Krishna. Regardless of what happens to Krishna, he's still discussed as being an identity to the rest of us when we're discussing them. But outside of this construct, this birth-death construct, or the five elements, or the I amness, or the beingness, there is no permanent Krishna, no permanent identity.
सांगा म्हणजे
Krishna
अज्ञान
is the perfect, is also ignorance.
Yeah, that's of this thing that we're working here. See, but there are philosophers who will say, yes, there is a mortal man, a man born to die, and the characteristics of the mortal man die. They never really existed. They're a dream. They're a fiction. But behind that exists a permanent identity. See, and but what I'm saying is that the only permanent identity that exists is the one that the rest of the people discussing that person, they say he has it, but the person himself has no awareness of having any identity. Krishna, away from the what's written of him and what's believed about him and all of that on the earth, away from that, he has no sense of permanent identity.
That Krishna exists. But Krishna, we don't know whether he knows that he exists. It is our presumption.
Yeah, all right, that's...
I think that's what you are saying.
Yes, at least we know that that's our presumption.
Yes. You don't dabble in the matters of others.
Right. Yes.
In spite of the profound knowledge which is being expounded here, I don't waste a single bidi.
Oh.
Even if it is broken, I am going to apply it fully. You see, as I understand him, when he says, don't dabble in others, all our thoughts and mind relate only to others.
Yes.
So if you really don't want to discuss anybody else, the mind will and thoughts will be silent.
Yeah.
I am compelled to suffer this body, form and name, etc. But as a matter of fact, I did not have any birth.
That which makes this perception possible, this consciousness, this beingness, that itself is not permanent. So how can that which appears as a perception on this beingness, on this consciousness, how can that be permanent? So it is only that of which this beingness is a reflection. Only that is permanent. That of which this beingness, this consciousness is a reflection. Only that is permanent. Therefore, he says, his teaching is always for us to go back. That is, he says reverse, go back. He says, so go back to not the birth, but the 9 months previous to the birth. Find out what has brought about this body and go back to that state which one had before this body and the consciousness, both of which are time bound, to that earlier state. The jnani knows that earlier state and therefore gives no importance to whatever is impermanent. He started this going back. He started with people who come here. You have come here. And he said, after a while, you will go back to wherever you have come from. So he said, think on the lines of going back, not to this particular journey, but the original journey, which has taken place without our volition. He says, talk on whatever your understanding is on this part.
Oh, well, my understanding is that the parents, and through them, the
Yes.
5 elements visit this consciousness upon us.
Yes.
So it's not of our own volition.
Yes.
And instead of concerning ourselves with that, we should go to that of which the consciousness is truly a reflection or is derived from. And now, and so he says we should go back to that, you see, which is prior to the 9 months before birth. Okay, that's all well and good, but if I have a question at all, it is always the question of how you go back.
He says, you must know, how did you step into this beingness? To understand that, you must go into that womb state to investigate, to find out, to witness how this beingness has appeared. Without that, you will not understand.
Does the what he calls I love exist prior to the conception?
If you had that touch of I amness prior to conception, would you have dared to enter the womb?
बरोबर आहे एक निर्माण झालाय तो गणवान झालाय
This asha means the very purpose, indicative that you are. The purpose of beingness, the touch of I-ness appeared only in the womb, not prior. Since the beginning of that 10th month, you started receiving so many messages, information, etc. Understanding you are, etc. The beginning has started. But nothing will remain in your association.
In your memory.
म्हणजे आमच्या स्मरणातलं. That memory itself will be obliterated. There is a proliferation of sages and saints full of wisdom. And according to me, whatever they say is correct. Perfect.
आणि
Okay.
कोणाला कमी लेखायचं नाही लेखणारच नाही कारण आमच्या अनुभवाने कमी आणि मला कलरच नाही
He cannot talk anything about anybody disparagingly. From his standpoint, nobody has form, name and form. They don't have design or color also. From his standpoint, whatever they have talked is quite correct. But that is whatever has occurred to them What has sprouted in them, they have talked. It's okay. Root concept. The root concept is just the feeling I am, the touch of I amness. That is the root concept. Basic concept.
मग त्या कल्पनेतून नंतर कोट्यावधी कल्पना निघत आहे.
That primary concept I am, there is a proliferation of number of concepts.
Yes.
And out of that we think that we are incarnated, reincarnation, etc., etc. All those things. But the primary concept, the touch of I amness.
आम्हाला कोणाबरोबर हर्ष
I have no jealousy, I have no hatred for anybody, nor have I exhilaration for anything.
कल्पना गेली.
You go to anybody, suppose you have met him yesterday. Whatever he has talked yesterday, he is not talking today. Because whatever has sprouted in him today is different from what has sprouted in him yesterday. In the fetus, in the womb.
मिळून जाणीव आहे. कोणाला अशी नाही तो म्हणे नाव देईल त्याला. जाणीव
Right in
कोणाला
the
आहे?
womb, in the fetus, something appeared. What is that? 3 stages. Waking state, deep sleep, and the touch of I amness in dormant state. To whom, there is no question, to whom these 3 states have appeared. They have just appeared. And you may say to this person or that identity.
I see.
But it is not so. Just 3 states have appeared.
आता कोणी येतं आम्हाला म्हणे मार्ग सांगा. आम्ही सोपा मार्ग सांगतो.
Come to me and they ask me, which is the path for spiritual pursuit? I have only to tell them only one thing. Hold on to yourself in your meditation. Contemplate on yourself. Catch hold of that only. And whatever other ideas which occur to you, give them up. Hold on to yourself. Whatever occurs to you in the course of meditation, give it up. But hold on to the self.
That expression, hold on to yourself, or on to the self. Does he mean, is that the same expression that his guru said to him, just know that you are? That's-
म्हणजे you are this knowledge. Hold on.
yeah.
Be. Just be
ते
that.
ज्ञान धरून ठेव. त्या लेवलला राहू नको.
Hold on to that knowledge I am only.
आपण ते किती जाईल म्हणजे गेल्यासारखं होईल.
Knowledge will expound, disclose to you from where it has emanated from.
He'll take you to the source. That
Yeah.
very
That means-
knowledge will take you to its own source.
Since you are one with that, you yourself will be also taken therein, to the very source.
That holding to it is the same thing as what the paragraph he said earlier. This business that one concept leads to another, including rebirth and all of these, and that so that what we think of as our self is should be without speculation, karmic speculation. Yeah, that's what I'm
Give up
saying.
everything else.
Yeah, give up. So in other words, we are just using the fact that we are, or I am, to empty the mind of concepts.
It started saying that the individual itself is a concept on this knowledge.
Yes.
Therefore, he says, hang on to the knowledge, but give up the concept, even the individual, that is itself a concept on this knowledge, which has appeared on the knowledge. So hang on to the knowledge and give up anything that appears on the knowledge.
Yeah. Apropos of that, this brings the question up. You see that if you have any kind of even a vow, you know, even a vow that you're going to do something, that's still hanging on to the individuality, right?
ज्ञानाचे रूपाचे ज्ञान.
You call it, he says, you call it that knowledge I am. Don't say it's a concept, primary concept also. Just the knowledge I am. So when you hold on to the knowledge I am, all other which grow on it, other concepts, they will disappear.
तू असलं ज्ञान कुठून
In this process, that very knowledge will lead you to the very source from where it has emanated. That means you will know it.
Yeah. Well, we still didn't get on the thing of the vow. So
Oh, that was not conveyed.
It was not conveyed.
yeah. Okay. Well,
दुसरं एक ठिकाणी सांगितलेलं राहिलं होतं त्याचं.
I have a reason for asking, but do you want to ask it, or shall I tell you the reason?
You tell me the
Okay.
combined.
Yeah, the reason is that all this talk about Babaji, this man, you see,
yes.
in the book Autobiography of a Yogi, it says in there that Babaji made a statement that as for all the yugas, as long as the yugas exist, he will always be in human form and available. And he disappears and then reappears, and disappears and reappears, not through human birth. And this is what he states in there. Now, if individuality is merely a concept, then he is holding to a concept that he is a necessary individual. Okay, we see what he says about that?
हे पंचमध्ये होते जाते त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला आम्ही हलता येतोय खमोश.
He is putting question to Babaji. You are surviving for ages and ages, but are you able to shave somebody? That means, are you going to interfere in the play of the five elements? The five elements are playing about. What change can you bring about in that?
लोकांना संकट दुःखाचे होग येत आहे नमन करता येत आहे तुला कशाला जगलाय.
There are tides and high tides of suffering is coming along, one after another. Are you able to remove them? On the humanity, suffering.
1000 वर्षात जगाची काय काय परिस्थिती बदलली. सुखी झालास की दुःखी झाला बघून.
There were been so many calamities, so many changes have been coming over the humanity and the world. What changes did you bring about?
Notwithstanding all that, I would just, did he say then that, you see, anybody that operates on that basis, that he will perpetually be available in human form, then that person is believing still, I mean, he still has the idea that he's an individual. Is that not right?
Is he able to bring an iota of change in whatever happening in this five elemental world?
Well, he keeps that business, as far as I'm concerned, that is not my concern, whether he can bring about any change in the five elements or anything like that. But from the standpoint of this teaching, the Jnani teaching that we embrace in this lineage and so on, anybody that would take a vow to perpetually be available to man, always in human form, for billions and billions of years, that person must believe that he is an individual, because otherwise he would just go into Parabrahm and be available as that is available, rather than as an individual.
He has repeated that.
He's already said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says it is let him think what he likes. Nothing to do. Let him
No,
think.
well, that's not a question of what he, let him think what he likes. But from our standpoint, will we be, like if one of us were to make that statement,
Suppose you were Babaji, then?
well, or suppose that I'm me, and I said, all right, I'm going to stay in human form so that somebody can ask questions of me for millions and millions of years. There will always be one among you who is the whole thing. He's gone through the whole gamut of everything, and he's always available in human form, so you can ask him a question. You see, that's more or less the thing that Babaji does. Now, Maharaj would certainly not feel that that was the best thing for us to do. From the standpoint of being a jnani, we're supposed to let go of that idea that we are going to do something.
Whatever happens, just watch. It's all in the happen.